What's up, guys? Matco Michael's outside, and you know he's got some goodies today. So let's go take a look and see what he's got. Come on. Man, look at you. You got everything now. You must have just added that.
I actually added it a couple weeks ago.
I hadn't even noticed that.
It's right there by the door so people see it when they come in, and it makes them remember that they were needing something.
Yeah, I just now noticed it. Well, I seen you sold the gray and purple.
The gray and purple card
box was gone.
sold. Actually, to a student that's going to Northeast up here.
Man, yeah.
So he is actually looking at getting into a shop somewhere, and they suggest something that they can roll around to truck to truck to truck. So that's what he went with. So.
Well, it was a good-looking box.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's been buying tools from me for probably 2 years now, so he's got several tools. And now that he's fixing to try to get a job in a heavy shop, he wanted something to carry the tools around in, you know. So he had a box at home that's stationary that he could put them in, but once he gets into the shop, he wants something he can roll back and forth. So
it's a good move. That's a pretty neat little old kit.
Yeah, it tells you pressures. That's important.
Yeah.
Really, if you have any kind of trouble going on. It's kind of a dying thing, though. A lot of techs now just, yep, it's bad. You know, it's not really. Some of your transmission shops still look at the pressures to see, you know, maybe what's actually going wrong inside. But a lot of your shops now, it's got to the point to where it either works or it don't. There's not especially on front wheel drive. Around here, I don't really know anybody that'll tear into a front wheel drive transmission.
Yeah.
They'll fix the rear wheel drive transmissions all day. They'll tear them apart, but front wheel drive, I don't know of anybody. But the rear wheel drive don't look that hard to tear into. I say that because I've never done it, and I'm just looking back.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of them.
I don't think that'd be that hard to get in, but figuring out how it all goes back together.
Well, I've got a couple really good customers. It's like, you know, just in talking to them and stuff while they're working, they're like, well, let me finish this just a second, and we'll go out there, and they'll kind of start showing me what they're doing, and it's like, okay, well, that don't look that hard, but I'm sure there's a catch. Like, I'm sure you're doing something that I don't see that I wouldn't do, and it wouldn't work. You know, they're just throwing those rings in there, and it's like, or sometimes they call them clutches, so they're just throwing them in there.
There's a lot of parts of transmission that most people don't think about, you know, because one of my buddies, he used to work at a transmission shop, and I've seen him, you know, tearing. That's back in the 400R and 350 turbo days, and he'd have it all tore apart, and I thought, man, ain't no way I'd ever get all that back together and set right and working right.
Well, you know, I always said that too, but I got to thinking about it. You usually don't, and they're out there. They are out there, but you don't usually see a transmission guy do a motor. They usually doing transmissions, and you usually have another person doing a motor. I never thought I could tear a motor apart either. Like, if you'd have told me when I was in high school, hey, you're going to be a mechanic down the road, go ahead and tear into this and fix it yourself, I'd told you crazy. I knew how to put oil in it, I knew how to check the coolant, but, you know, I'd have never thought I could take a motor apart, find the problem, fix the problem, put it back together. And you become it in later on in life, as you do it more and more, you really ain't got to tear into it to know what's wrong with it. You just listen to it. Yep, I know what's wrong with it. You know, just by how many times it's making the noise, right? Oh, well, that's a double tap. We know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy, but I'm sure transmissions are the same way. After you do a couple of them, I'm sure you start getting the gist of it, but I don't know. I'm not going to tear mine to just see, but...
I was talking about your pry bars yesterday on a live stream. Like, this handle is still my favorite handle over the new style handles. Like, this one feels better to me than those.
So, I agree. they went to make these handles in the USA. Everything's in the USA on this pry board now. This one was not. This one just felt better.
Yeah.
Some people, very few people, complained that it was too big. And you know, they tried to put your finger grips on the back of this one to make it a little bit more comfortable. But a pry bar, I normally don't have just a whole lot of grip on it anyway, because I'm usually using two hands or, well, I won't say standing on it, but standing on it. You know, sometimes when you're prying on it, you have to bend that bar just a little bit. But
yeah.
I would agree. I like the striking plate on both of them, but this one's just a little bit bulkier, and I don't like it. But these have went away, and we're going to these. So a couple of years, you probably won't even remember these, but yeah, I don't know. I agree.
Yeah, it just feels better to me.
You know, I saw a comment the other day that just because you sell a brand, don't have to like everything they do.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the way I am. I mean, I love the brand. I've always loved Matco. That don't mean I gotta like every decision they go to. You know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ones that, you know, it's not a huge deal. It hasn't made me stop selling pry bars. It hasn't kept me from selling pry bars. It's just usually, man, I like that other one. Feel a lot better. And I agree, but
it definitely feels better.
They're actually, we just got word that they're changing our hammers, our orange deadbolt hammers are going to an all USA made as well. They just sent out an email on that, so that's a plus as well. I like that idea behind that. So they are making improvements. I don't know that it's set in stone. I think it is, but I think they're actually fixing to change the key to our toolboxes too, to be a little bit more, I guess, hand friendly. You know, we all like the hexagon look, but it's kind of weird in your hand when you go to turn it. So I think I saw the redesigned one. I don't know when they're gonna come out with it. I think somebody said they already received a new toolbox with that new key. Change is sometimes good. Reading the comments from other distributors on the key, it was, you know, about half and half. Some really happy that they changed it, some not so happy. But that's, again, just because we sell the brand don't mean that we, you know, well, like anything, a company's going to go the way that they need to go. So
yeah,
I'm okay with them changing the key. It's supposed to be a sturdier design and the way that it's built and stuff, so that's good. But if we could just get called up on our toolboxes, that would be great. But you know,
well, you could call and say, "Hey, I need a blue one." Yeah, we got it in stock.
You know that.
Yeah.
You know, the thing. It's a good problem to have. Running out of toolboxes is really good.
Well, which one seems to sell better, the gloss or the matte? Do you think?
Usually, the gloss sells better. Strictly because there's more colors in the gloss. I love, and they're working on that. The copper vein that come out, that's really good. You know, we got black vein and silver vein, but they did away with the blue vein because nobody really bought it. Everybody likes the textured look. They like it, but we don't have it in the whole assortment of colors. So it got in a while, even on my truck, because I like the vein so much. I had a black or silver toolbox constant, and it's like, well, I need to get some colors in here. I wish they'd do that color in vein, but I don't know how much that would change the color.
Yeah.
And that may be the reason that they don't expand the vein. But as of right now, the gloss seems to sell really well.
Because this one is a really good looking color on the box, but the little paint chip, it don't look as good, you know, in the small sample versus.
No, and I agree. I had to see a toolbox in that before. Well, the first one that I actually seen in it was a purple and, well, that purple and gray cart that I had, and I was like, wait a minute, that looks really good in person. So that's why I went with that. But to be honest with you, the 6S's, they sell really good because you can change up the trim color.
Right.
And when you can do that, and you get some in our trim color, is usually not the same color as these. It is, but it ain't. It's like a different shade or something. So it almost, I call it a candy color. You know, you think of a candy apple red. That's kind of how all those colors are. They're kind of like a candy color. So it really makes a gloss box a gloss box pop.
Yeah.
I'd get it out sometime today, but for me, the gloss is the best. Which I was just doing the 4S just plain with power, but I've had so many people like the upgrades that I think I'm going to start.
That right there is what makes that box.
Well,
to me.
Yeah, I've sold 3 regular 4S boxes with power, and the last probably, I don't know, 6 months. Well, all of them's like, man, wish I'd have bought that one. It's like, well, you know, we can make your box that way. I just didn't do that. I didn't know it was going to be as popular. My plan was to get that box to my house just like that, fill it full of tools, and then later on in the year put a hutch on it. I'm glad I didn't put a hutch on it now because it wouldn't have fit just too well in here. But to me, you put a hutch on that, and that's all.
That's about the right height too, you know, to add a hutch to.
Yep.
Like here, that would be too low, you know, without that.
It's a little low, and that's one thing I like about our 6S boxes too. They sit higher automatically. They got a different wheel design on them, so they sit higher automatically. The only thing about the 6S's is they cost a little more because of the different features and stuff like that. It's totally different design. You know, you got your color trims, and so right now, where I am at and where everybody that I'm dealing with are mostly new techs. So I've been helping them get into a more affordable box.
Right.
So I've been showing them, and I've sold 2 6S's. You know, some senior techs, and we always open to order anything for anybody. You know, we'll do what we got to do to get you what you need. So, but
well, I know somebody was wanting to know the part number to those scrapers that I like so well. And right there they are. It's a CGSS2A. Right there.
So those are the make-believe scrapers is what I call them.
Make believe?
Yeah, and the reason I call them that is because everybody, I tell them how good they are, they're like, I'm like, well, fine, I'll make you believe it. Take them, try them for a week. If you don't like them, just bring them back to me.
Yeah.
And
I bet you hadn't got any of them back.
I got any of them back. Like,
that's about right.
I had one guy that told me how bad they were
awesome.
going to be. You know, he was doing the whole feeling it to see how sharp it was. He's, you know, these ain't going to be worth the crap. It's like, just take them and try them.
Yep.
And,
did you see that Snap-on come out with a set like that now?
I haven't.
They sure did. I guess they got tired of losing the scraper war, so they had to do something.
Well, you know, and with those, what a lot of people don't realize is normally in the scraper industry, I guess, strictly push. That one right there, you pull it, it does just as good. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, look, you've liked it for a week. Now, next time you go do it, just pull down on it. Huh? Yeah, just pull down on it when you're cleaning. And sure enough, they'll come back, man, you mean that thing does that good? Yeah, did for you, right?
I like them, man.
I walked into a shop the other day, and they they had somebody in there replacing a valve body for them, and apparently he'd built the transmission earlier, and it was still having some shifting problems. Well, anyways, he come in to do it, and he was cleaning it up, and they said, here, try this one, you know, which of course I was standing there, so I was happy, but just try it. He's like, you trying to sell it to me? I'm like, no, that's theirs, just try it. And sure enough, you know, sold a set just off him trying it, so I was happy with it.
They work. They are good. I see you got something new.
Yeah, we do, and we got more stuff coming out new, but this week we got a light, so everybody needs lights. I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah, lights.
So I like this light. It's going to be an actual regular light, but then you're also, when you hold it down, you're going to turn it into a UV light. That's nice to have. But then also hold it down again, and you'll get a laser. I had it on there and didn't even notice it. Now we got a laser. It's interesting to find out why people like a laser so much.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think a laser was that important. But there's somebody else out there selling this almost the exact same light, but it doesn't have a laser. And when I started telling people it had a laser, you could just see it in their eyes that they wanted it at that point. I don't know why. I've started asking, you know, what about the laser is making you want it so much. I've heard everything from pointing to a customer to show them to play with their cats. So I don't know. But it's a good heavy duty light. I like the clip on it. It doesn't feel like that's going to be one of those clips that you bend and break off. If I had one complaint, which I have a couple, but if I had one complaint on some of the others, the clips break off way too easy. On most pocket lights. This one's kind of heavy. I don't know that I would carry it in my pocket all the time.
Yeah, it's got a little weight to it.
It's got a little weight to it. It's got a rechargeable battery. You know, 4-hour runtime, 500 lumens. It's just, it's an it kind of looks tactical for whatever reason. I don't know if that was what they were going for.
Yeah.
But I like
magnetic
the look.
base.
Yeah, magnetic base. I like the look of it. I would wear it in my pocket, on my pants pocket. I wouldn't wear it in my shirt pocket. I don't know if you've ever seen the Fluke light like that. You know, they had the little yellow light that was a handheld. They actually had a clip on it that you could clip on your pocket. I used to carry those in my pocket too. And they were nice because they had that UV light. When you're doing a check sheet, it's easy to sell AC work going into the summer when you click that button. They may not be having a huge concern with AC. It may not even be on the ticket. But you shine that light under there and you see AC dye or something starting to leak. And a lot of manufacturers are actually putting AC dye in from the factory now, which is great. I think that's awesome. Just shine it up there, and if you see AC dye, just bring the customer out and show them, look, this seal ain't leaking real bad right now. And yeah, your AC
it's going to get
you're
worse.
going to wake up and you're not going to have AC. You know, whether it be today, tomorrow, next week, do you want us to go ahead and pull that out and replace that seal? And because a lot of the places I go to have the machines that you can actually save the freon, which is great. You know, you pull that out, you replace that O-ring. Not only did you make a little bit of money, but you also, in that customer's eye, kept them from having to spend more money later down the road and be in that situation where they don't have AC. AC is one thing. The motor can be knocking, the transmission can be slipping. Don't matter. You let it get Mississippi heat, and that AC not work.
They gonna fix that AC.
They gonna fix that AC. I was in a shop the other day, and they were going over a check sheet, and that's what brought up a check sheet. And they were telling them what all was wrong. There were several oil leaks. You know, they had diagnosed a misfire, and they were going down through there. And you could just tell on the customer's face that there really wasn't any concern about any of that. They didn't care. But they got to the AC, and they were like, you know, we found out why your AC is not working. Your compressor's grenaded inside itself, and it's sent metal through the line. It's going to be, you know, $1,400 for the kit plus the labor to do it.
How long does it take to fix it?
She said, well, I'll drop it off and you fix it. And he goes, well, what about the other stuff? Don't worry about it. Just fix the AC.
Well, I noticed that when I had my trucking company, a truck driver wouldn't fuss about the vibrations from the U-joints or, you know, the wheel seals leaking or anything like that. But you let his radio go out or you let the AC quit working, and you'll know it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he will not even leave if the radio's not working. So,
well,
you know.
We used to have that a lot too, but now I worked in a dealership, so we didn't deal with a whole lot of aftermarket radios. But what we dealt with is when somebody come in with a radio concern, because they would take off work and bring it in for a radio concern. But our radios were $2,000 to $3,000 from the factory, and they would be like, I'll listen to my iPod, I'll listen to my phone, you know, and we could send them off under warranty, get them fixed for them. They would be perfectly fine with that. But once it would come customer pay, being a dealership, we didn't do a lot of aftermarket radios. We started to kind of push them in a little bit because we were losing so much. We knew they were going to get an aftermarket radio.
Right.
But we, you know, you got, I think on Toyotas, I think the radio runs out after 36,000 miles. 3 years, 36,000. So you got 38,000 miles on it. You're not really wanting to tell a customer to put an aftermarket radio on there. But you're also not wanting to make them spend $3,000 for a radio.
True, that's a lot of money
so
for a radio.
you could send them in for repair, but you know, Sometimes they would opt for it. Sometimes the repairs were $500-$600 just to send it in. So we didn't get a whole bunch of that, but we did get the taking off work to come up there and see. But we also had people take off work to come tell us that they back into something and they had a backup camera. But either way. So also on this light, you can spin it. Now it becomes a regular straight light. So that makes it a little better. That's kind of awkward there in your pocket.
Yeah.
You spin it, now you're back in your pocket like you need to be.
That's pretty cool.
Good strong magnetic base. Play with your cat or whatever you want to do with the laser, I guess. I like the pointer idea, and I like the pointer because I don't know if I've ever told you a story about. We had a guy that had a concern on. I think it had under 15,000 miles on it, and his concern was the belt wasn't turning. Belt's not turning. Sorry, the belt's turning, or the motor wouldn't be running. You would either burn the belt off, or the motor would be running, but the belt would either be off or be squealing, be something. Right. He's gonna show us. Okay, so
he didn't stick his hand.
He stuck his hand in there, and you can guess. So maybe he should use the laser. Hey, that ain't turning. Yes, it is. So I like that. Plus, there's sometimes
I would have just liked to been in on what the guys that was with you said after that guy finally left. That had to be some hilarious. Right now, you're playing it through your mind and you're trying not to laugh.
Well, there's a lot of those situations that you talk to customers, and when they leave, it's like, holy God. Like, where is your thought process this whole time?
Well, I had a lady, we fixed her AC back when it first started getting warm this year. And it was blowing like really good. Like, I was really proud of how that AC was performing. Well, the next week it turned into a warm spell, and then it started, a cool spell, and then it, started, how our heat is. When we get in the spring, hot, cold days, So like a week later, she comes back. She says, "You didn't fix my AC. It's not blowing. It's hot. It's not working." I was like, "Okay, let me go out here and look at it." Well, the first thing I did, because she owns the car, you think she got enough sense to make sure it's on AC and the AC is on. I popped the hood and look at the, the compressor. Well, the compressor's not turning. I'm like, okay, well now I kind of know what to look for. So I went to pull it in the shop for her. The little blue snowflake wouldn't lit up. I was like, I hit the button, I heard the compressor click, ice cold air comes out. And she's had the car for like 3 years. But automatically she assumed that it was something we did wrong when she didn't even have the freaking button mashed.
We had that so many times. The cold spells, they get everybody. They cut them off and they come in and, hey, it ain't working again. So, hey, cut it on. But we actually had an issue too. This is kind of different, but Toyota actually had the issue where customers were, instead of just cutting the temperature knob up to stop being cold, they cut the AC off. Well, then they get hot again, they cut the AC back on, and then cut it off, cut it on. Well, that would actually cause the compressor to go bad. So we were replacing compressors because of it. So they actually did a service bulletin and told us how to fix it, to where it wouldn't cause the compressor to go bad. But part of it was telling the customer, when you get hot, don't cut it off and then 5 seconds later cut it back on. I think I replaced like one compressor, maybe two, and the rest of them was just showing customers, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't messing the actual mechanical part. It was messing part of the electrical of the compressor, because some of those are, they've got the electrical connector that does the clutch and stuff, and it's like, hey, chill out, cutting it off.
Yeah.
Cut it down. So and they did. They fixed the issue. I think we had to do a reprogram too, to where if they did it, it wouldn't mess nothing up.
Right.
That's one of those you just don't think about.
Yeah.
When they first come out with that, we were like, nobody does this. Nobody just cuts their AC off and then back on and then back off. That happens.
It's weird, but I can see it because I've seen a lot of weird stuff.
But I can also tell you on a 4Runner, if you've got your party mode button on, your lights will not dim. We found that out the hard way. That's about a day and a half chasing wires with Toyota. You know, they tell you what wires to chase. This customer was furious because his lights wouldn't dim. Sure enough, he'd hit the party mode button that cut the speakers on in the rear. It will not dim.
Wow.
Yeah, we found that out the hard way. But still AC season, so ask your distributors about them.
Yep.
And
cool.
The blue light, I mean, can make you a fortune if you just use it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people like to think that AC either goes cold to hot just like that. But I've known several that we've had to say, look, we're going to put Freon in it, put some dye in it, just bring it back. And they'll bring it back the next year. Okay, it quit working. It's like, what? Have to look back in the customer notes, you know. So they are slow leaks. Maybe you can catch it. Pretty well priced.
True.
I like the light.
Well, guys, I got to get back in here and finish up a truck. And I got another car sitting in there, so I got to get going. Like always, if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Check down here in the cool tools and discount codes. And right there's some merchandise. And click that subscribe button. It's free. Never costs you a dime. You guys have a great weekend, and we will catch y'all later. See ya.